Hey there, grade 5. This is Mr. B, and we're just going to have a quick little review lesson if you want some help before heading on into your quiz. So I just wanted to just to provide you with some additional lessons here if you were struggling with the 24-hour clock, because we didn't talk about it too much. So I just wanted to make sure that we were all there. So this is a regular 12-hour clock, and so when we want to tell how much time has elapsed during a 12-hour clock, you normally see it, I think, especially in the way our thing did it. It would have the minute hand, which was solided in. You'd have an hour hand. Let's just put it at the 3 there, and it would also be solid. And then they would have like a kind of hollowed out one. So how you do this to figure out how much time went from here to get to there, you would just go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, right? And that's how you'd figure out how much time has elapsed. Now, if it was not pointing directly there, and say it was pointing at this one, then you'd get up to 30 here. Then you'd go 1, 2, 3, right? So you'd have the 3 ones, 30, and you'd go 33 minutes, right? And another way you can always do that is just to tell the time here and then the time on the other end. Now, with a 24-hour clock, which for our sake I'm going to just use these kind of models, we probably don't need to use all of them, but what's interesting, right, is that there's a second row here. You see the second row? So with a 12-hour clock, what happens, wrong way, 12-hour clock is that you just end up going around this once, and then you just go around again a second time, right? So you just kind of keep going around a second time. And what happens is once you reach this, first thing in the morning is at 12 o'clock, right? So that would be 12 o'clock at night, which we call 12 a.m., right? Which is, like in the morning, right? So 12 a.m. is in the morning, and this is, or some people say at morning, it's during the morning. And then when this minute hand goes all the way around 12 times, and this hour hand goes all the way around once, what happens is when you get back here, it becomes 12 p.m., right? 12 hours later, so 12 a.m., and then you have 12 hours later, because there's 12 hours on the clock, makes 12 p.m., which is like around lunchtime. So this is like lunchtime, and this is more like middle of the night. Right, so that is how the 12-hour clock works. So you have this 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. And as you get past after lunch, right, after 12 p.m., every hour you go is just 1 hour past morning or past midday. And so, you just have 1 o'clock p.m. So 1 p.m. is here, and this is when we kind of go out for recess, right, normally. So normally when the clock is at 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, we are out at recess. And then but if it's at 1 in the morning, right, that's 12 hours before, that'll be 1 a.m., and we're all probably sound asleep. Okay, I don't want to beat that horse too much. So with a 24-hour clock, what happens is that when you come around the full circle, so when you're aimed here, this is 12, like right in the morning. And as you go across, this is 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, right? Some people are starting to arrive at school. 9, school starts. And then 10, right? You get a snack and recess around here. 11, we come back inside, we work for a bit. 12 is midday, right? And then here on a 1 hour clock, it just resets, or a 12-hour clock, it resets. But in this clock, it doesn't. It goes up to 13. So it just says, we just kind of go up to the next level, and it's 13 o'clock, right? And then 14, which is 2, 15, which is 3, PM, right? So this is all more afternoon times, right? And so then you have here 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, right? And all these, it just keeps going hour by hour up. And then once it gets to 23 hours, right? 23 hours and 59 minutes, and one more minute goes by, it resets here as a new day. So a new day starts at 0001. That is the beginning of a new day. Well, really, beginning of a new day is just at 000. That is the beginning of a new day. And that means there are, in the day that we're talking about, there have been no hours that have passed and no minutes that have passed. And that's the kind of the idea. So, and as you go through the day, you start having, like, right when the clock is pointing like this, right? The minute hand like that, and the hour hand like this. So we would say that this is 0, right? Just before 1:05, right? So there's 5 minutes that have passed over the hour, over the new day. And then as it goes further and further along, so when we wake up for breakfast normally, let's just say here, and we'll do the minute hand here. This would be maybe like 7:30, right? And that would be that there's been 7 hours and 30 minutes that have passed in the new day. And then it just goes on all the way up to 24. So I hope you kind of get that the clock goes to 24 and resets at 24 instead of at 12. And that way they avoid using the PM and AM because they just have it all in one system. Now when we add, well, then let's just kind of look how we convert AMs to PM. So if you have 4:17 AM versus and 4:17 PM, and you want to change it over to the 24-hour clock, what you're going to need to look at mainly is this thing here, AM and PM. This is the most important thing to take a look at. The reason being is that this tells you whether it's going to be past 12 or not past 12. So AM is all smaller than, all smaller than 12. And PM means that the numbers are greater than 12, right? So that's how that kind of works. So when you see AM, what you're going to actually do is you're just going to put a 0 on the front. And you just say it like this, right? It is just 4 hours that have passed of the new day. When you see PM, you're going to add 12 to it because it's 4 hours past 12. And so here you go, 4 plus 12 is 16. And then you have 16, 17. And this is the time in 24-hour clock. So what the real indicator here is the PM and the AM. So you really, really have to focus on these ones, right? This is the most important thing to pay attention to. And you don't want to miss that, right? So this is quite important. And then we'll just do another one here just for the sake of it. So if it's 8:54 AM and 8:48 PM, whatever, it doesn't really matter, though they're different for some weird reason. So here, we look here, we see AM, we know that this is going to be smaller than 12, right? Or, oops, that means greater than 12. This number is smaller than 12. So it's going to be 0.854. Now we come over here and we see PM, we know this is going to be bigger than 12. And so this is going to be 8 plus 12, right? So you plus the 12 because it's 8 hours past 12, right? When you get to the 12, it normally resets. and then you just put the PM there. So this is 8 hours past 12. So what we say here is that it's 20:48, and then there's your answer. So remember, if there's PM, you add 12. If it's AM, you add nothing. Basically, you add a 0 at the front, I guess. But yeah, you add 12 here, and if it's AM, you just add 0. And the reason a lot of times they'll show this 0 is because it's kind of like, I mean, especially when you're dealing with the old clocks that needed, that had little plates that shifted. Right, these things would switch over, and this would just also kind of indicate that it's a 24-hour clock and not a 12-hour clock. Anyways, I hope you get that part. And then finally, I just wanted to touch on one last kind of detail, where if you're adding time to find out, or subtracting time to find out how much time has elapsed, right? So if you want to figure out how much time has elapsed between 13, let's just say 35, from 7:40 to 13:35, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you write the bigger number on top, right? 13:35, and the 7:40 here, right? So you need to make sure the bigger number is on top, or else it's not going to work, right? So you come here and you subtract 5 from 0. You can do this one, so it's going to be 5, and then 4 from. So this one you can't do, right? This one doesn't work. So what you're going to have to do is actually take an hour and bring it over. Now it's a bit weird, right, when you do this, because this will turn to a 2. Now we'd be tempted to put a 1 here, but it's actually not the case. What you do is you put a 6 there, and then you have to make this into a 9, right? Because this is actually 60 minutes that you're adding, not 100, because this is out of a 60 system, right? So this will be 9 minus 4 rather than 13 minus 4. So that'll give you another 5, and then it's 12 minus 7, and you will have 5, right? Yeah, you'll have 5 hours left, right? Because you have to borrow here. And this one is just the case of having an extra hour. So you just bring it over, because these are all hours over here, and you'll get 5 hours and 55 minutes. So you can write that out as this: 5 hours and 55 minutes. So I hope you get how that works. Now, if you see it where it's PM and AM, what you're going to first have to do, so say it was let's just do it simple, 9:10 to 3:10, and this was PM, and this was AM. What you're going to want to do first is convert these into military time. So instead, just say 0, 9, 10, and this one you want to add 12 to it. So you'll say 15, 10, right? Instead. And then that's a lot easier. Remember to put the bigger number, or the later number on top, right? So 15, 10 minus 9 is 9, 10 is equal to, so this will be 0, 0, because 10 minus 10 is 0, and then 9 minus 5 will be 6 hours, right? And you can just plop this 0 here. So I hope you kind of get the gist of that. Again, if you need help, just send me a little message, and I'll certainly be willing to help you. Hope this helped. Cheers. Bye.